It's the industry's Super Bowl, and we have the post-game show. Everything E3 this week on the GameCritics.com podcast.
Wow.
The glitz, the glamour, and the games of the 2009 Electronic Entertainment Expo. That's our topic this week. I'm Tim Spaeth, and joining me are the editors of GameCritics.com. Let's introduce them now, starting with Big Papa, Brad Gallaway. Hi, Brad.
Hey, Tim. How's it going?
It's going well. How do you like the nickname I picked out for you, Big Papa?
It fits, man. It fits because I am a papa, and I'm happy and I'm content in my life, and so I've been putting on some weight, so I'm definitely bigger. Yeah, Big Papa works, man. Good call.
Good call. Wonderful. Well, another Big Papa, but I like to call him the horror geek. It's Mike Bracken. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Tim. How's it going with you tonight?
Fantastic. Great to have you back.
Fantastic. Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to be here. I will be happy maybe by hopefully Friday that I can finally shave. I have not shaved since the beginning of April because the Stanley Cup playoffs started and my Pittsburgh Penguins have been in, and it's hockey tradition to grow a playoff beard for luck. And we're in the finals. We're down right now, but if we win, I'll be able to shave by Friday. That would be a good thing.
So we're recording this on Sunday night, so I guess they're down 2-3 in the series?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Detroit's up 3-2. But we're going back to Pittsburgh Tuesday night, so try to force a Game 7.
Well, I wish you the best, even though I'm a Clevelander, but we don't have a hockey team, so I can fully support your Penguins. Good luck to you, sir. And from the nation state of Canada, returning, it's David Stone. Welcome back, David.
Hey, Tim. How you doing?
Very well. How are you, sir?
I'm well, but I'm kind of sad. No nickname for me. What is this?
The Canadian, David Stone.
I've been called worse.
Let me ask you this: your last name is the Canuck. Let me ask you this: your last name is Stone. Has anyone ever called you The Rock, David the Rock Stone?
Way too many times, and You know what? It's still not funny.
How about Knucklehead?
No, I think you get the prize for being first on that one.
All right.
Knucklehead.
Sweet.
It is.
All right.
Well, this is our big E3 show, and here's the great thing, guys. I've been doing some research, and it turns out we are the only gaming podcast covering the show.
I knew
Nice.
it.
Yeah.
We're always on the cutting edge here.
Yeah. So hundreds of thousands of people will be looking to us for insight and analysis. So let's get our A games out there, people. Now, none of us actually could make it to the show this year, but I know all three of you have been to E3 in previous years. And for our listeners who might not be familiar with E3 and the experience of actually being there, can you regale us with some tales of conventions past? What is that E3 experience like?
I was lucky enough to go from 2003 to 2005, so I went for 3 E3s, and things that I remember a lot are really overpriced food. I saw some weird kosher burrito available from a vending machine.
Is that the one that comes with the bacon on it?
I think that was the one they were test marketing for LA, but I'm not sure. But no, a lot of bodies, a lot of walking. I actually lost a ton of weight whenever I went down. Memories of great California pizza kitchen meals with the Game Critics guys. And actually got hired by Harmonix one year, but unfortunately immigration and things like that didn't make it pan out. But that was also the year I actually saw Rock Band before it was Rock Band on a PS2 dev kit. So E3 actually has a lot of there's way too many memories to be able to recount in a short time. But it's one of those things you have to experience once because you'll never have to do it again.
Let me go back a second. And you were offered a job by Harmonix just walking around E3?
Well, no, before, longtime readers of GameCritics.com will know that I actually did an interview with Alex Rogopoulos for something else completely unrelated. But I mentioned that I had it, and she thought it'd be really cool to post on the site. It's in the archive somewhere. And when I said to Alex after it was posted, I said, "Thank you so much. I'm going to E3. Can I maybe buy you a drink or something to thank you?" He said, "Oh, well, why don't we do lunch?" And we went out on the Friday. Actually, that year I got ridiculous food poisoning from IKEA Swedish meatballs. Never eat them. But I still managed to make it out to the show. And we went out to lunch it was the last day of E3, and we were just talking. This was the year Guitar Hero 1 was unveiled, and before everybody knew that it would be this enormous thing. And we were just, as I say, we were just talking, and he said, three-quarters of the way through lunch, "I want you at my company. You're the kind of guy I want to have." And I thought, oh my God, yes, please. Which was unfortunately followed up by a year of emails and figuring out if you can. And the problem is, as a Canadian, as the knucklehead, you couldn't prove that I could do the job better than somebody who was graduating from MIT, which is like half a block from Harmonix. So unfortunately, it just wasn't in the cards. Alex Rogopoulos and I do exchange emails from time to time, just to touch base. He's a really nice guy, really, really nice guy. And unfortunately, I just didn't get to work at that company that's now worth millions and millions and millions and millions and millions.
But had you taken that job, what are the odds that you would be on this show tonight? So I think in the end, the right thing happened.
It balances out.
So. Yeah, it does. Yes,
Well,
because I would trade working at Harmonix for anything.
Well, Mike, Brad, any E3 tales before we talk about this year's show?
Lots of E3 tales. It's funny that David would talk about the food because you never eat the convention center food because there are lots of like illegal immigrants outside with little vending carts that have awesome food. And plus, every time I've been, which has been like 4 years or 5 years, I can't remember now, they give you free press lunch, man. You make sure you get upstairs for that every day because that's good food. My other memories of E3 are basically just walking around, and you bump into celebrities occasionally while you're walking around. I ran into Stan Lee one year and got to talk to him for a while, and John Carpenter and Rowdy Roddy Piper. So it's it's fun to go play games, but you get to do a little star watching too. It's definitely something you should go to at least once if you're into games. I will second that I will second that emotion. What am I talking about? I have no idea. I'll second that sentiment. There we go. Jesus Christ. I need a new fucking tongue.
Brad, bring our history lesson home.
Well, I've been to E3, I think, at least 3 or 4 times. I wasn't able to go this year because I was staying home and being with my family since my son was born. But E3 is a really great experience. I know that in recent years it's gotten kind of a lot of bad press for one reason or another, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it every time I've gone. And it truly is Mecca for gamers. I mean, if you've never been, it's this enormous, enormous place with just crazy amounts of floor space. And there are more games than you've ever seen in your life crammed into it. I mean, when I go to E3, I think I usually stay for, I think it's 4 days. And although the first day is kind of eaten up with the press conferences and such, I don't schedule any appointments and I don't really talk to any PR people. I go and what I do is I comb every single booth on the floor of all the floors and I try to see every single game that's there. And I tell you, in 3.5 days, I never can see all the games. So if you can even conceive of what that's like, it's a really great experience if you're a gamer. As far as little anecdotes and stuff, I mean, there's been a million of them, but some of my favorites were bumping into Hideo Kojima a couple times, actually. He was a really nice guy both times. I bumped into Will Wright. I saw Anna Nicole Smith. I've seen a bunch of other people, too. I mean, like Mike said, I mean, it's a really great place because you never know who's going to be there. I mean, there's tons of just regular gamers or people who work on the internet, like we do and all that. But, there's movie stars that just pop up, or there's these really, game luminaries that you would never expect to see in any other context, and yet there they are with their $8 burrito, or there they are, looking at the game that you're looking at. So it's probably the best place in the world to ever be if you love games as much as we do. And if you haven't had a chance to go, I definitely would recommend that everybody should do it at least once.
Walking into the show floor that first day is like Christmas morning times 1,000.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like the best thing I could ever imagine.
Yeah, there are just games and flashing lights and loud noise everywhere. It's just indescribable.
Not to mention the fact that you never actually have to pack a T-shirt when you go there, because by the time you end up with like 50 T-shirts that, I mean, Goodwill loves me because I make an annual donation of all of them, but wow. And it's hilarious because I would go with Aaron, and all the shirts are built for extra, extra, extra large. So
Yeah,
I'd get a
go
T-shirt. I would get a T-shirt, Aaron would get a nightie.
Well, guys, I've never actually been to E3, but I think we should make a commitment right here on the air that we all go next year and we'll do a live performance of the podcast. And I think we'd probably do it right there on the convention hall on a raised platform where everybody could see us and adore us. Do you think that's viable?
Oh, totally. I'm sure G4 will share some space with us.
Oh, yeah.
You can just tap into their feed, steal some of their electricity.
Or just ask the GameSpot crew to film us. Who knows?
I'm sure. I hear we're very big with Kevin Pereira, this podcast. He loves us.
Well, that's a dream come true, guys. A dream come true. And I think it would be weird to meet you guys in person. I don't know.
It's actually amazing. It's really amazing. You'd be shocked at how well you get along with people really, really fast.
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty nice dresser.
Oh, yeah. The moment I saw Brad, I just fell to my knees and cried. Just God's gift to men and women. It was unbelievable.
God's gift to haberdashery.
I do love an ascot.
Let's move on and talk about this year's show. I thought we'd start with just some general conversation about the conferences. We'll go Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. We're going to do a separate section on the motion control, so we'll save that for just a little bit. Let's start with Microsoft. I think we'll have the least amount to say. It was a fairly solid presentation. I like the focus on games. They just got up and said, here are 10 games that you all already know about. Weren't a lot of big surprises there. Maybe the games on demand, that was kind of interesting. Facebook and Twitter integration, and they kicked it all off with Paul and Ringo. So I thought pretty solid effort there. What'd you guys think?
I agree with that. I mean, it was really solid. It was good. It was not very surprising, but I mean that's really okay. I don't really mind that as long as they have their act together, and it seems like they really did this year. We'll talk about the motion stuff in a minute, and most of the games, I mean, I got to say their lineup does look pretty solid. I mean, there's quite a few games that I was looking forward to. The only thing that really, like you said, that stuck out to me was the games on demand thing. I mean, I'm kind of curious. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they said that games on demand are not going to be competing with retail sales, which, I guess is their Trojan horse for how they started off. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see where it goes and how, GameStop and used retailers will react. But outside of that, I mean, it was just a good presentation. Nothing mind blowing, but I'm okay with that this year.
Yeah, that's my sentiments exactly. See, I got it right that time. It's a very solid but not mind-blowing press conference for Microsoft this year. I'm always a little curious about how their things like the Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that will go over, only because I only use my 360 to actually play games. I don't stream Netflix on it or want to Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. That's why I have a PC. But it seems like there's an audience of their gamers who want to do that kind of stuff. So I think it's cool that they're going to put it there for you to use if you want. And I mean, the games were the center point of most of their press conference, and they've got some good stuff coming out. And it was solid, but not mind-blowing. But that's okay.
I guess all I can really say is ditto. I mean, other than this year's, giant enemy crab in the form of bam, there it is, for knowing the bottom of a shoe on an avatar.
I forgot about that.
How could you not? I'd say that this year's, Microsoft was just really bang on. I mean, of all the three companies, I felt that they had their finger on the pulse of traditional gaming the best out of all three of them. I think that they realize that the Xbox 360, as far as the high-def platforms go, is the platform to beat, and it is the de facto platform. And I just think they're playing it really, really smart right now, and keep on course and just keep going.
Yeah, they don't really need to blow anybody away right now. They're already in the first position, and they're really strong right now. So business as usual for them is good. I mean, all they're going to do is solidify their base and, show everybody that if you want games, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the 360 is the place to go primarily. So I think they were smart to kind of not want to bowl anybody over. They're just showing that they're here, and they're doing what we want them to do, what gamers want them to do, and they're about it. So I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Keeping the focus on games, I think, really, really important. It was nice not to see bar graphs, no charts and graphs at the Microsoft press conference. Just games, and that was really exciting. We're going to talk about some of those games later in the show. I'm sure you guys have a lot to say about Metal Gear, for example, and we will get there. But first, let's move on to the Sony press conference. I know there was something we were probably all hoping we would hear, and that's news of a price drop. We didn't get that, but we did get news about the price of the PSP Go, and I think that was surprising, or maybe not surprising, given what we've seen from Sony the last few years. What did you guys think of the Sony press conference?
Well, for me, if you want to talk about bar graphs, I mean, Sony has always been the king of bar graphs. Their press conferences in the past have always gone on way too long as they broke down every dollar that was spent on them. As far as the PSP Go goes, if I can put it like that, I know that people are saying that they really enjoyed it when they got it hands-on. I think it is a huge step in the wrong direction at this point. I think what they need to do is make a brand new platform. I think the PSP was a great first effort, but to destroy the UMD, I mean, I understand it's a failing format, but to go digital distribution only and to charge as much as a Wii and make it smaller with less parts for more money, I don't see how this can go anywhere at all. I mean, they did need to add a second analog stick to this thing in order to make anybody get excited about it.
Well, do you really think it makes sense to add a second analog stick to what is basically a hardware revision of a system that's been around for a couple years without a second analog stick? I mean, the old games are not going to go back and work with a second analog stick, and then new games going forward wouldn't play as well on the original PSP. So, short of making a PSP 2, I'm not sure why anybody expected a second analog stick on the Go.
Well, at this point, none of the old games are going to work on it either. I mean, Sony has no plan at all, and I don't see how they can possibly have a plan for people who have a library of UMDs to pick up a Go and have their games, ready to go. God, why did they pick the word frickin' Go for this system? Have their library of games at the ready when the system launches. And besides, you have systems that have hardware revisions on them, like the DSi, where you get cameras, and bigger screens and beefier hardware. You get things like the Game Boy Color, where you'd have these little hardware revisions where older games would work and newer ones would have new features. I think you hit the nail on the head, Mike. They did need a PSP 2. They didn't deliver. They delivered the bastard stepchild of the Milo, and there's nothing about this. Like when I saw the PSP for the first time, I thought, my God, I want this. I'm looking at this thing and I want everything when it comes out. I actually want to pass on this.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys both in certain ways. I have to admit, I'm not really excited about it at all. I certainly think that Mike has a good point in saying that if they were to add a second stick now, it might be kind of problematic. But at the same time, that's probably the only thing that really would have gotten me looking at it seriously, because outside of that, I don't have any real reason to buy it. I mean, it's so expensive, and to go download only. I mean, I think it's colossally boneheaded of Sony to launch this thing, which is download only, and not have a plan in place for people who have UMDs. They've announced it since then, obviously, that they are working on something, but, working on something is pretty nebulous, and it doesn't really...
because they were called on it.
What's that?
I'm sure that's only because they were called on it. It's not like they actually had a plan. I think somebody at the press conference said, what about those who own UMDs? And I think somebody in the back room said, oh, shit.
Well, undoubtedly, but I'm kind of stunned that the big brains at Sony didn't think of that before they came to this press conference. That seems like a really, really easy thing to catch early on in the development process, and I'm a little bit surprised that it doesn't come with like the, UMD backup generator or something like that that lets them, lets people transfer games from UMD to download. And also, I know that Sony says that it's going to exist in parallel with the previous iterations of the PSP hardware. I think that's a load of crap, honestly. I really do. Games in the future, I'm assuming, and this is just a guess, but I think that they're all going to go download, at least as far as this PSP goes. And so people who have the older model are going to start feeling left out. I mean, yeah, granted, you can get a bigger memory card, and you can download games to your older PSP, but I think it's just a way of phasing out the older hardware, and they're kind of, maybe they got a better profit margin on this new thing or something. But in general, it's too expensive. There's no reason for people who already have a PSP to really buy it unless they just want the, shiny brand new factor, and it's really underwhelming. I mean, I may have gone for it just to have it if it was, $150 or something, but at $250, no thanks.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, this is Sony's fourth crack at this thing. There are only so many ways you can tie a bow around a fruitcake. At the end of the day, it's still a fruitcake. What else at the Sony press conference struck you as interesting, disappointing, exciting, anything at all?
I thought Sony's press conference was arguably the best of the three. I thought, whereas we all thought Microsoft did a very solid, respectable presentation, I don't think Microsoft had to come out and try to wow anyone. They're pretty much entrenched in the spot they're in as far as this generation goes. Sony has been kind of playing catch up, and this is the first year where I've seen a Sony conference where I actually got to the end of it and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I actually need to go buy a fucking PS3 now because there are games coming out for it that I really want to play that aren't going to be on some other console. So I thought that because of that their conference really stuck out to me as being slick and well put together, and I like to rant about how awful these press conferences are, like the Ubisoft guy, how terrible he was, and Cammy from Nintendo is just as awful because these people come out with their prepared speeches and bad jokes and they bomb and they don't know what they're going to say and they just keep going along with the script even though everything's bombing because they can't actually ad-lib. Jack Tretton is not that dude. Jack Tretton is so fucking money that I bet that guy shits $100 bills. He's just, I don't know what it is. I would do everybody else's press conferences for them for games and hookers if they would let me. They wouldn't even have to pay me cash. But Jack Tretton, I'm not taking his job. He's just too good.
And let's not forget sexy Kaz Hirai. I mean, dude.
Yeah, Kaz for me is the downside of Sony press conferences, but Jack Tretton, that guy, money in the bank.
Well, outside of your man crush on Jack Tretton, getting back to the hardware and games for a second, I was really shocked, as I'm sure a lot of you guys were, that there was no price drop announced for the PS3. I definitely agree that the PS3 had a lot more games this year that I really was kind of keeping an eye on. Last year, not so much. This year, they really are heating up the games. And actually, I do want to say also, to be fair, that the number of games announced for the PSP or PSP Go, whatever, they actually had a fair number of pretty cool-looking games. So in that respect, I am kind of excited that they're reviving the PSP. But anyway, no price drop. I was really, really shocked because this seems like the perfect time for them to get in on it, and I think everybody in the industry was really expecting them to do it. I know that their profit margins have been terrible, and I'm sure they don't want to take more of a bath than they already have been. But, I mean, seriously, you guys got to move units. You got to get this thing into people's homes. It's not good enough to say that it's the most powerful or it's the shiniest. I mean, you got to start selling fucking consoles. And at the price point that it's stuck at, it's not happening.
That and the PSP Go were the two things that kept Sony's press conference from being pretty much perfect. If they had announced a price drop for the PS3 and if the PSP Go had actually been a PSP2 instead of a hardware revision, I would hands down give them the best press conference of the show. As it is, I think they just were slightly ahead of where Microsoft was.
It's a little embarrassing to me to see that Sony is still pretending like home is something to care about. I mean, if anybody has been to home, it's basically like advergaming with the gaming taken out. So it's just advertising. There's nothing to do. There's nowhere to go. There's no interesting things to see in it. And it's just like the most ass-backward, fucking stupid thing I've ever seen. It's the biggest waste of time, and I'm pissed that I can't delete it from my PS3. And it's a joke to me that they keep bringing it up like it's going to be something new and exciting, and like gamers are going to want to fucking spend their time there. Give me a break, man. Let's just forget about home. It's total fail, okay?
The other thing that surprised me about this press conference, have you guys seen the rumors of the photos of the PS3 Slim that have been out there? Like, of all the systems that direly need a hardware revision, this is it. I think that's what's going to give you the price drop that you seek. But I think the problem is that the retail channels are just completely flooded with this current model because they're just not selling. So they have to wait for this crop to dry up first. So I think we can see tons of new bundles coming in the next few months. And I think by Christmas, we're going to be hearing something about it. It's just the timing is going to be a little bit different than what people were expecting.
Yeah. A cheaper, redesigned PS3 bundled with a couple games, that might put me over the edge, but as of right now, I'm passing on both the Go and the PS3. So let's move on to Nintendo's press conference. I know you're all incredibly excited to talk about this one. I think that we will all remember Nintendo's press conference this year as the one where we were introduced to the most important technological innovation of our time, the Wii Vitality Sensor. Yeah, I know. Just saying it brings chills to my bones.
I should measure that.
And believe it or not, this was one of the things that we actually got a letter about from one of our readers, Vince. And he said, something I hope you guys bring up when talking about the Vitality meter is the possibilities with horror and survival games. Imagine if the game knows when you are feeling frightened, when your pulse is racing, or your hands are clammy. Imagine a game either taking the suspense just a bit further for one person as opposed to another who maybe has had enough. Or if a puzzle is getting too difficult and the player is frustrated, the game can realize when it's time to issue a little hint. God knows I could have used a few in Zack and Wiki. While we haven't seen what the device can do, I think there's a potential for new gameplay. And that comes from Vince. So thank you, Vince, for sending that along. So before we talk about the press conference, let's get the Vitality Sensor out of the way. I saw the slide of the guy with his finger in the thing, and I just said, surely when the team was prepping this press conference, there was a rational guy in the room who said, this is not a good idea. Let's just not have that slide.
Yeah, you would think so. The one thing I will say, and I love Vince for this reason, because he occasionally comments on stuff I post at the site, and we talk on the message boards and stuff. He has this great way of looking at things sometimes in ways that I don't see them. So it's always great to talk to him because he usually brings a different perspective. I think the idea of using it for horror games or if the puzzle idea is great. I haven't seen anything from Nintendo that actually indicates that's how they're going to use it. And my other thing is okay, if you wanted to implement something like that into your gameplay, why would you make the thing go on the tip of my finger like I'm at the doctor's office? They couldn't have come up with something a little bit cooler looking than that. You should
make it look like a laser or something that you mount on your hand, so at least you can look tough, Yeah.
Or electrodes that you stick onto your chest or something. I mean, at some point you got to. I'm with Tim on what the hell were they thinking? But at the same time, if you've ever been to a merge, wow, there's a conversation killer. They're really, really useful because they're non-invasive and they're really quick and easy to work with. So I think that's why it's gone.
You do a merge? What the hell is that?
Yeah, you lost.
No idea what you even just said.
You've been to the emergency room, and they need to check vitals in your.
That must be some Canuck
Canadian thing
way of saying it. Yeah. Yeah,
no, sure. It's what happens when you've been to the ER a few too many times and you hear the way the doctors call it. They just call it a merge.
Oh, here they just call it ER.
Yeah.
I thought that down there they call it bankrupt.
Crazy Canadians.
Anyway, getting it back on track. I've heard some people say that it looks like a fleshlight. So I don't have any hands-on experience. I can't vouch for that, but I can kind of maybe see where they're going with that. But in general, dude, okay, Nintendo.
It does go on the tip of your finger, right? It's got the little thing.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I can see gamers trying to put it on the tip of something else, and no good will come of that.
Oh, no one will try that ever. No, siree.
There's got to be something in the manual about that. I'm sure there's going to be a warning saying only for use on fingers. Mark
It's
my
going to be one of those
word.
red circles with a line through it and a picture of a dude with that thing on his junk, Electrocution danger. Warning, warning. But seriously, though, I mean, talk about how desperate are you that you're going after the senior citizen market by, monitoring their vitals? Like, is this a way of them, warding off lawsuits? We Play doesn't work anymore unless you wear this thing so that you can't sue us for having a heart attack.
Dude, they did it with a bathroom scale.
Yeah.
It's pathetic. It's embarrassing. Okay, maybe it's got a good application somewhere, but this was not the way to present it. This was not the time to present it. And it just looks so stupid and desperate. I mean, I had to laugh. I wasn't even sure they were serious at first.
Well, it was. I was pretty embarrassed for everyone on the stage and in the audience, and really for my entire family and neighborhood. But let's move on from the vitality sensor. What else about the press conference struck you as exciting, or was there more embarrassing stuff?
You ask me, I think the whole thing was embarrassing. I mean, I'll let you guys chip in on this because I just talked for a bunch. But, I mean, long story short, it seemed to me like Nintendo didn't have a single fucking original idea. And as fun as some of their licenses are, I mean, I like Mario just as much as the next guy does. Maybe even a little more. But, 4 Mario games announced, and none of them looked even the least bit original. And, I mean, almost nothing they had at their press conference was exciting. It looked like, hey, we don't have anything this year, so we're churning out these, by the number sequels. So go Nintendo. No thanks, man.
Yeah, I wasn't blown away by their press conferences, but I never am, and I know it's because a lot of people just think I have it in for Nintendo, and maybe I do, and to a certain degree, only because I feel so betrayed in the past 2 generations. The GameCube never lived up to what I hoped it would be, and the Wii is not either. Their press conference wasn't a complete failure. There's a couple games there, like Golden Sun DS, that I'm looking forward to, but for the most part, when you're trotting out James Patterson's fucking women's mystery club as something worth talking about at your E3 press conference, you're lacking games.
You're in bad shape.
You're in bad shape. Yeah, if that's one of the biggest things you've got in the pipeline that's supposed to get gamers excited, you're in a bit of trouble.
I actually am going to respectfully disagree with you for that one, just because of some of the other stuff I'm involved with. I know a little bit more about the casual games.
Yeah, but I understand that, David. But the problem is it's fucking E3 and it's hardcore gamers there. It's not the women's mystery club crowd at E3. So why would you bring that out as something to pitch at E3? Because the people who play those kind of games, A, aren't at E3, and B, don't even know what E3 is.
Because Women's Murder Club actually made more money than Zack and Wiki ever did. And I think the fact of the matter is that I think Nintendo is saying, look, we know it's not for
But you're not talking to your audience. It doesn't matter if it makes more money or not. You're talking to a bunch of people who don't give a flying fuck about it.
But there's a couple of different points to that. I mean, number one, maybe it's something that if people just got past the name and looked at it, it might be something that is worth looking at. And number two, it's the electronic entertainment. And like it or not, there are now different segments of the market. And quite frankly, it's those different segments of the market that I give. Look, I'm not arguing whether or not E3 is primarily paid attention to by hardcore gamers. I'm not arguing about that at all. What I'm saying is that maybe that's just something that they're acknowledging and saying, look, we're putting out products that are not just for you. Feel free to ignore this entire portion of it and laugh at us, but you know what? We're laughing all the way to the bank.
But all Nintendo does is ignore their core gamers. What do they ever do for their core gamers? So,
you mean like
that's a good point, you guys, though, because actually one thing that really struck me watching this conference was that it's not Nintendo anymore. It's like Fisher-Price with a medical equipment slant. I mean, who is their core audience? Because it's certainly not us anymore. So really, maybe it was appropriate that they brought out Women's Murder Club, because it's pretty clear to me that they don't really give a rip about the people who put them there in the first place. I mean, for the last couple consoles, they haven't really cared. So I think this is just another piece of evidence that people who grew up with Nintendo and put them in the number one slot and supported them for all these years, we are not their core demographic anymore. I think we're a side business that they would like to continue courting and nodding their hat to once in a while. But with Wii Fit and the the sensor and the balance board and all this stuff, gamers don't care about that stuff. And yet it's their business now. It's their main focus of their business. So maybe we just have to let go.
Well, I think they gave us a few games to care about. I mean, there is that Metroid Other M that they announced that looks interesting for sure. And like I said, I think they did go the hardcore gamer route by milking Mario Galaxy with a sequel. And so, I mean, there were enough hardcore games there. And they talked about the fact that there's definitely a new Zelda in development. And I get the feeling that Nintendo can never make anyone happy. I just get that feeling that Nintendo will never make anyone happy. We're just such fickle bastards. We'll never be happy.
Well, it's when you set the bar high with the Super Nintendo and that era of gaming, you then follow it up with the GameCube and the Wii. I mean, if you grew up with a Super Nintendo, how could you possibly be happy with the N64, the GameCube, or the Wii? I mean, each one has been a pale shadow of the Super Nintendo.
Absolutely. No argument here on that front, but at the same time, that's why, thank God, we've got the Xbox 360 and the PS3 to a lesser extent, though that's catching up very, very quickly. But at the same time, I don't think we can really fault Nintendo for the fact that we've moved on from them in the same way that you guys feel that they moved on from us.
It wasn't something I wanted to do. I've gone out and bought Nintendo consoles every generation. I own a Wii, even though it hasn't been on in probably a year. It's just a point, if you ignore me for long enough, then I'm going to start to ignore you back. And I feel like Nintendo's ignored me for quite a while now. So
I was at a business lunch on Friday, and I was sitting at a table with 8 people. They were all in their 30s and 40s, and somehow the subject of the Wii came up. We went around the room. Every single person at that table had a Wii. 6 of the 8 people only owned Wii Sports. I was the only one who had anything beyond that. And it was kind of, as I was preparing for the show, I realized you guys are absolutely right. This group of 8 people, this is Nintendo's core audience now. And occasionally they'll throw us a bone, but like you said, we've got the Xbox and the PS3 to satiate our hardcore hungers. So let's move on from the press conferences. I think we've covered them pretty in depth. Now, one thing that was a recurring theme this year, I call it the motion control fiesta. Who needs controllers anymore? Says Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, and all 3 of them brought their own variation of controllerless gaming to the table. We saw from Nintendo really the same thing we saw from them last year, and that is Wii Motion Plus. That's the little plug-in that will go on the back of the Wii Mode that will add basically new functionality to the accelerometer, and it will give you one-to-one control. So if you swing a sword up, it swings it up, swing it diagonally, it swings it diagonally, one-to-one control. Believe it or not, this comes out tomorrow with the release of, I think, the new Tiger Woods game. You'll be able to get your first taste of Wii Motion Plus. Now, off in the distant future, we have Microsoft's entry. That's Project Natal. And that's how I pronounce it. Natal.
Roll it off the tongue.
It is. It's sexy. It's sexy. And essentially, this is literally controllerless gaming. You hold absolutely nothing. And I think the best way to describe it would be the Minority Report navigation system, where you're just swiping your hand and screens move left and right, and it's a way that you can navigate through interfaces.
Actually, Tim, I think the best way to describe it would be the iToy. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, there is that, and I'll let you guys debate that in a second. So that was Microsoft's entry, and then we had the PlayStation, and I don't think this has a name. I think it's just PlayStation Motion Controller. And it looks like a little miniature Mr. Microphone, just kind of a magic wand with a ball on the end. And it works very much like the Wii Motion Plus, although it works in conjunction with the iToy so that you can actually be looking at yourself holding this wand, and it can superimpose, turn it into a sword, turn it into a wrench, turn it into I think they did a stop sign, a bow and arrow. And so that's the PlayStation variant on this. Now, I guess my questions for you are, number one, do we want this? Is this a good thing? Do we want to play our games this way? And number two, which of the three has the best shot of succeeding? What do you think?
I think Wii Motion Plus has the best shot of succeeding simply because it's a system that's already built around motion control. The fact of the matter is, I think the only downside to this is it's going to be way expensive to have a complete Wii controller, because you're going to have the Wiimote, the nunchuck, and this Wii Motion Plus business. But at the end of the day, I think that they have the best shot because it's built into the functionality. Project Natal, whatever you want to call it, I think the biggest mistake for that one was allowing Peter Molyneux to be the one to explain it, because if ever there was the king of hyperbolic bullshit of the industry, he's it. There's no way that Milo program is going to work as Peter says. I think it's going to be an enhanced iToy, nothing more. PS3 Sexy Wand, how many people do you think are going to be doing penis hacks for that on like day one? You know that's going to happen.
And that's not a bad thing.
I know of one anyway, and he lives in Canada.
I walked into that, didn't I?
You did.
Anyway, yeah, so that's those are my short answers.
Well, just to put all my cards on the table, full disclosure here, I hate motion control. I hate it. I can only think of like one game, which is Trauma Center, where I think it actually works well and complements the game and makes me feel as though I'm doing what I want to be doing. Like in every other game where there's motion control, don't like it at all. I've played a ton of Wii games. I've spent time with the iToy. I think I've actually played every single iToy game there is, and I just am not convinced. I think motion control in general reduces the specificity and the amount of options that a player has. And to be perfectly honest, when I'm playing a game, I don't want to get up and do the thing that I am doing. If I'm swinging a sword, I don't want to wave my arm back and forth for 2 hours. If I'm shooting a gun in an FPS, I don't want to have my pointer finger sticking up in front of me for an hour. I mean, my shoulders are going to get sore. My back's going to get sore. I don't have 15 feet of free space for me to go running in circles when I want to circle strafe somebody. I mean, it's like, okay. Anyway, that's where I'm coming from. I agree with Dave as far as Nintendo having the most success simply because they've already got the installed base of Wiimotes. But to me, the Wii Motion Plus is them saying it didn't work right in the first place, which it didn't, okay? It was never specific enough. It didn't do what they said it was going to do. I mean, it worked roughly for very coarse motions, but when you tried to get really specific with it and try to be very exact, it just didn't work. And this thing is just, it should have been done right the first time. So this is their retcon. As far as Project Natal goes, it is the iToy. It is the iToy. I can't believe that no other people are saying this because it's the fucking iToy. The iToy has been out for years, and it's not really that fun. If nobody's noticed, there hasn't been a new iToy game in I don't know how long. I mean, I think there was one that was announced. I think it was called iPet or something like that. But, whatever. Nobody heard about it. Nobody cares. It's wonky. It's dumb. All you end up doing is doing little mini games. And just like I said with the other thing, I mean, if I'm driving a game using Project Natal or whatever it's going to be known as, if I'm driving in the next Burnout, I don't want to have my two hands sticking in front of me in the air and turn them left and right. Like, my arms get tired. My back hurts from sitting in that position. I don't want to do that. I want to hold a controller because it's comfortable. We have chairs. We have couches. We have these ergonomic controllers. We use them. We like them. That's just what gaming is about. So Natal, I don't think is going to go anywhere. I mean, facial recognition, great, but other than that, it's the iToy part 2. And as far as Sony's thing, whatever it's going to be known as, I mean, the personal massager is what it looks like to me. But, I like that it has buttons on it. I like that it seems to be the most accurate and most specific so far. But again, I don't want to swing a sword in real life. I don't want to aim it as a gun. I mean, it'll be fun for 10, 15 minutes at a time. I'm sure my son will love it. I'm sure he'll go nuts for it. But if I'm going to sit down, had a long day at work, just got the new game in, going to crack the cellophane and going to sit down and get my game on, I don't want to go clearing my couch aside and have this little, play area so that I can, have a workout as I'm playing my game. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't like doing that stuff.
Yeah, I am pretty much anti-motion control as well. The interesting thing to me is it seems when you think about it on the surface, it makes sense that the Wii has the best chance of succeeding this Wii Motion Plus. Although I have to wonder if people will really go out and buy it because, like we said, a lot of people own Wiis because they're cheap and they only have the one game for it. Are these people who make up the bulk of the Wii ownership base now going to go out and spend what is the Wii Motion Plus, like $25? It's another $25 add-on, I think.
It's
$19, but they're being really smart about it because they're including it with Wii Sports Resort. It's got the name that got people hooked, so that's another reason why I think they're being really.
But
really
do you think that a lot of these people who only have the original Wii Sports are actually going to go out and plunk down money for Wii Sports Resort? I'm curious. I don't know the answer to that, and I would think a lot of them won't because I think a lot of them bought a Wii a couple years ago when it was the hot thing to buy, and they pretty much they have it, but they don't do much with it. So I don't know that they are going to do that. I'll be curious to see how it plays out. Natal, I'm with Brad. I couldn't care less. I don't want to stand up and jump around and do that stuff. If I want to hold my arms out and pretend I'm driving, I'll get in the car and put my hands on the steering wheel and actually drive. And the same thing, I thought the PS3 thing looked kind of cool, but it's these things are so gimmicky. Yeah, you just get the impression that basically what happened this year was that investors for Microsoft and Sony said, hey, this Wii thing is still kicking your ass and everybody's all into this motion sensor crap. What are you guys doing to compete with it? So that now Microsoft and Sony have come up with these supposedly ideas they're going to compete with the Wii at what the Wii does that makes it so different from everything else. And I just don't think that there's a point to it other than trying to appease investors, because I don't think that most people want to play with motion controls for any amount of time. It's fun to do for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever, but if you're looking at playing like an RPG that's 40 hours long, do you want to swing your sword arm that much for over the course of 40 hours? Most people don't. Gaming works very well the way it is, with you sitting on a couch with a controller. I don't understand this big urge to get us up jumping around like spazzes for hours on end.
I totally agree, Mike. I mean, this to me is just it's a dick measuring contest. It's keeping up with the Joneses. They're going to attract the quote-unquote casual gamer because that's what Nintendo's doing, and this is just like a giant game of catch-up for these guys. But I agree, it's not going to work because the Wii gamers are not gamers. They're Wii buyers, and everybody I know who bought a Wii because of Wii Sports or Wii Fit, they play it for that one thing, and then it's done. Like, they do not translate into further sales. So I think this is... it's a feather in Sony and Microsoft's cap to say, well, we can do that too, but it's not going to go anywhere.
And that's the only thing is I think that the Wii Motion Plus will go somewhere because you had these guys who did plunk down $250 for a Wii just to play one game. I think they'll realize, wait a minute, I'm going to get more of the same, just a little different. And only $60, go me, and they'll go and do it. I really think that that's what's going to drive the sales, is because it's got the name Wii Sports on it.
I think if Nintendo markets the hell out of Wii Sports Resort, then Motion Plus has a chance to succeed. And I think we are going to see billboards, commercials of people doing the Frisbee and whatever other sports are in there. I know there's Frisbee, the basketball, because people can already relate to people using Wii controllers in that fashion. But they have to market it. They have to make people want it. I think the price of entry for Natal and the PS3 Sexy Wand, if they don't ship with the system, if you have to go buy them separately, they will fail completely because they're going to be prohibitively expensive. Not everybody's going to have them. Nobody will develop games for them, therefore. And I think they're just doomed to fail. But the Motion Plus, like I said, it's all about Nintendo marketing Wii Sports Resort, and I think they can do it. And I think it'll probably be successful.
Just a quick history lesson. I know we just have to move on from this, but one important thing that Nintendo did in the past, which was an add-on, was the Rumble Pack for the N64. And I don't know if you guys remember, people weren't sure whether that was going to take off. And it was included in Star Fox 64, and I think they gave it into another game. But if you guys remember, by the end of the N64 era, Sony played catch-up and invented the DualShock. And now every controller rumbles as a result of that Rumble Pack that they brought in. So you never know.
Yeah. And I think there's an element here of just you can't teach old dogs new tricks, not to go into the cliche well, but we've been gaming for 25 years and we like what we like, and it's tough to get us to learn new stuff and embrace it. But I think of my 3 kids, and they would go nuts for the sexy wand and having objects superimposed onto their hands and having the sword fights and so forth. They would go absolutely ballistic for that. And frankly, that's who these companies, I think, are looking at. We are rapidly approaching the end of that 18 to 34 key marketing demographic. And at that point, these companies stop caring about us. And it's the next generation, I think, that they're focused on. So
I agree. It's a totally different kind of gaming. It's totally different.
I'm already past that 18 to 34 demographic, I hate to say.
I'm getting pretty close. So anyway, let's put motion controls to bed, and why don't we take a quick break? When we come back, let's talk about the games we're most excited about from this year's E3. Stay with us. We are back, and let's throw it now to Brad. He's going to start us off. We've each picked 4 or 5 different games that we want to talk about, things that struck our fancy at E3. Brad, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. The first thing that really struck me from the incredible wealth of games to choose from was Crackdown 2. If you've been following game critics at all, people will know that I was not the biggest fan of Crackdown for a number of reasons. But I did think it had a lot of potential, and I think it's interesting that enough people out there thought that it also had potential that they did not let dreams of a sequel die. I mean, this was a sequel that was never supposed to happen. Microsoft denied its existence for a long time. They said there was never any plans. The developers even broke apart and reformed into different studios and this, that, and the other thing. So Crackdown 2 is definitely the game that should not be, yet it is. And I'm actually excited. I mean, I really like the concept of being in an open world and having a superpowered police officer kind of taking down crime. I don't know. I'm kind of excited, even though I didn't like the first one. So hopefully they get it right this time.
Yeah, I'm with you in that I was not a fan of the original Crackdown. It was one of the games I actually managed to play through, right when I got it, which is very rare for me. And then by the end of it, I was disappointed that I wasted those hours playing through it instead of something else, because it felt like a $60 tech demo is the popular way of describing it, I think. But yeah, there's definitely potential there. I saw the trailer for the game. I didn't really see any gameplay or anything like that. I'm hoping this time that we will see some of the potential inherent in the idea realized, but until we see more, I'm only cautiously optimistic.
I'm wondering how this thing is going to sell without a Halo 4 demo in it.
I think Crackdown has built up enough goodwill that it will do very, very well. I'm a little disappointed to see monsters in Crackdown. That, to me, I don't think of monsters when I think of Crackdown, but it's early. We'll see how it goes.
Fingers crossed on that one for sure. The next one that kind of caught my attention, although not for the reason you might expect, is Left 4 Dead 2. Or I guess that makes it Left Dead 6. Whatever. Anyway, the reason I was kind of highlighting this one is because I'm actually really surprised that they announced it as a full-on sequel. I think a lot of people who are familiar with Left 4 Dead and with Valve really expected them to put out a ton of download content. I mean, I know I did. I thought for sure that I would be paying for mission packs and new weapons and, clothes for my character and this, that, and the other thing for years to come. And then all of a sudden, here's this full-fledged sequel. And to be honest, I feel like the first Left 4 Dead didn't really end up being a complete product. It felt really half done to me. And as much as I enjoyed it for the limited amount of time that I did, I expected them to milk it for a hell of a lot longer. So to see a full sequel out is really shocking to me. And I know that a lot of people on the net, especially on Valve's website right now, are really up in arms for the exact same reason. From the trailer, the amount of content we saw looked to be no more than what would be expected from maybe a medium or large-sized download pack. So for them to ask us to pony up for a full quote-unquote sequel is a little surprising, and it left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I was disappointed that it wasn't called Left 4 Dead 2, Too Sweet to Be Forgotten, personally. That's what I was hoping they would run with. But I'm with you on the too soon for a sequel, especially since we didn't get that much download content for it. All I can think of there is maybe, and I don't know if this is the case or not, but remember how fast they dropped the price on Left 4 Dead? Like, it was on Steam and you were getting it for like 50%, and then people picked it up really cheap. That maybe this is their way of trying to recover some of the money they blew on the first game by gouging everyone on a second one. And then a totally unrelated note, how fucking sad is it that I have never played Left 4 Dead? I am the horror geek, and I have never played a game about shooting zombies with 3 other people. I feel like a complete loser.
You're on notice again this week, dude. You're on a bad trend.
You know what the problem is? I don't have a Gold Live account. I can't afford a Gold Live account right now, so I can't. There was no point in picking it up. But I'm embarrassed by this.
It's all right. You're among friends and 100,000 listeners, so. The company line on Left 4 Dead 2 is that Valve has made such advances in the AI director that it would be impossible to patch the original game with...
Bullshit.
I know. I'm just saying. Just have to speak for Valve, want to present both sides of the story. What else do you have, Brad?
Oh, okay. Of course, pretty much the only game that really caught my attention from the Nintendo conference was Metroid Other M. And oh man, I'm split. I'm torn on this one because as much as I liked the Metroid Prime series, and I really only like Metroid Prime, I really have wanted to go back to having Metroid be a third-person game. And so to see that they have one was, my dreams come true. Yay, I don't have to have a first-person Metroid anymore. We can see Samus, however you pronounce it, running and jumping and doing the screw attack and flipping and all these, cool things that we had in the 16-bit era. But the downside of that is Team Ninja. I mean, okay, I realize that Ninja Gaiden has its fans out there, but I fucking hate Ninja Gaiden. In fact, I pretty much hate every game that Team Ninja's ever done. I think they're complete talentless hacks. The only thing they can do well is breast bounce physics, and to me, that doesn't get me very far. So I'm really I'm hesitant. I want to embrace Other M, but I'm scared to because I know what Team Ninja does and I don't like it. Now, the only saving grace in this situation is that I do know what sticklers for quality Nintendo can be, and so I really don't think that they're going to let Team Ninja get out of hand with it. I think in that respect, maybe it'll be kind of a peanut butter chocolate situation where Team Ninja brings the energy and Nintendo brings like the common sense and the logic and the playability. I'm hoping for the best, although I'm not really expecting it. And I got to say that the cutscenes look lame, so I hope they fix that.
I'm on board with you 100%, Brad. I'm really scared that Samus is going to be playing without her suit and she won't be able to fall very far because her breasts will be left on a platform higher up, especially if I input my age as 99. But more to the point, I'm scared of what the gameplay is going to be like. I don't want it to be an action hack and slash. I want it to be exploration. I want it to be funky monsters in amazing, varied environments. I want great power-ups. I want tight control. I want awesome music, and I just want a nice, clean game experience. I don't think Team Ninja is prepared to bring that to the table.
My reaction to it was I wasn't sure that even selling it as a Team Ninja game made that much sense because Itagaki is gone, and do we really even what do we know about Team Ninja anymore now that he's not there? They're sort of an unknown commodity at this stage. So I couldn't even begin to guess what kind of game we're going to get from them. I am curious to see if it's going to be as insanely difficult as Ninja Gaiden can be. And because I just think that would be kind of funny to see a game that hard on the Wii, where so many casual players tend to pick up games, and I could just imagine somebody who's like, "Oh, I hear a lot about this Metroid franchise. Maybe I'll pick it up and try that out." And then you get something like the typical Team Ninja game where you're like tossing controllers 5 minutes in. That would be kind of bizarre. And I'm also going to call it right now. I'm calling for a moratorium on all Team Ninja, Samus bouncing boobs, and extreme volleyball jokes. It's an obvious joke. It's not funny. Let it go.
It goes to the before I said something. I just want to point out, by the way, Mike and I seem to be adversarial tonight. We've actually hung out and shared Papa John's pizza.
We love each other.
We actually do. We only bring out our games when it comes time to perform for you.
Yes. He's my favorite knucklehead.
I'm the only one you know.
Well,
there's Dan. No, there's Dan. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I thought I could find a technicality.
Real quick on Metroid, I think it looks horrible. I think it screams failure, and I will predict right now this game never comes out.
Wow.
Bold prediction.
Yeah.
That is bold.
We will come back to this in a year, and I will replay that quote, and I guarantee it. Brad, hit us with your next selection.
Rounding out my selections, I gotta give props to Atlas. They continue to be one of my favorite publishers in the industry, and they did not disappoint me this year. I was so thrilled to see their lineup. It's pretty fantastic. But rather than highlight everything they had, I want to call out really quickly Trauma Team for the Wii, Shiren the Wanderer, also known as Mystery Dungeon, also for the Wii, and Trine, which will be available, I believe, on both PlayStation Network and Xbox Live Arcade. Trauma Team is the next installment in the Trauma series, which, as I said earlier in this podcast, is the only game in the world that really works well with the Wii mode, as far as I'm concerned. This time around, you pick from 6 different medical fields. I guess you can switch between doctors. There's surgeon, diagnostician, which I guess is, the dude comes and listens to your heartbeat and takes your blood pressure, whatever. EMT, orthopedic surgeon, endoscopy, which should be loads of fun with that new vitality sensor. So anyway, if nothing else, this will provide a much-needed shot of variety into the Trauma Center series. And allegedly, the games have had a pretty rocky history with difficulty in the past. The team this time around is saying that they have listened to the feedback and have made it much more evened out and smooth. So I'm looking forward to that. Shiren the Wanderer is a roguelike, which if you're not familiar with what that is, look it up on Google or whatever. But basically, you are a character in a dungeon. You have to pick up items while you're in there, and everything is turn-based, and it's really, really hard because if you die, you get sent back to the beginning and you lose all your stuff. So you basically have to do multiple attempts and make a perfect run to finish the game. It's really hard. It's really old school, and it can be really obnoxious at times, but at the same time, I love it when it's done well. Shiren had a game on the DS. I think it came out last year. It was also called Shiren the Wanderer Mystery Dungeon. You can get it for like $10 or something.
It's an underrated gem.
Totally.
You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And one of the best things about Shiren on the DS was that if you died in a dungeon, you could have a friend with another DS come into your dungeon and rescue you, and you could continue your adventure without losing any of your stuff. I actually had that happen to me, and Hargrada from Game Critics came and rescued me, and because of his act of kindness, I was able to complete the game. And I'm really, really hoping that that feature is still in the Wii version. I haven't heard confirmation, but fingers crossed. And the last thing is Trine, which is kind of like a Castlevania-ish game. It also kind of reminds me of Magician Lord a little bit for you old schoolers out there. But you have a knight, I think it's a thief and a magician. You rotate between them. They each have their own separate abilities, and it's kind of like a Lost Vikings kind of thing where you work together as a team to make it through each level. So I'm really looking forward to that one. That's going to be a download only. So Atlas is really bringing the love to their fans this year. They got a really strong lineup, and those are my E3 picks.
Well, thank you, Brad.
Bam, motherfuckers. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Dead silence.
All right. Well, thank you, Brad. Let's move on to David. What are your picks, sir?
Well, I got 3 picks and 1 anti-pick, actually. So I'll start with my picks. My first pick is, after my harmonic story, Beatles Rock Band. And the only reason I'm singling this game out is because there's no way this game would have been made if it weren't for the amazing success that the other music games have had. As a musician, I'm thrilled with the fact that the world has embraced the idea that music can be fun and we can literally play music. My main concern about this one is the ridiculous price tag of as much as a console if you want to get the deluxe version of it. But hot damn, that drum kit it just looks so freaking sexy.
It really does.
And I know it's supposed to work even better than the Rock Band 2 kit, which actually worked really, really well. I know that the entire Beatles foundation, like everybody who's involved with the Beatles, was heavily involved in the creation of this game. I have nothing but good vibes about how well it's going to be performed. 3-part harmonies in a game. Oh my god. I know this is going to be a really sweet game. If you like your Rock Band, this game is going to be amazing.
You know, I like Rock Band, but I kind of don't care. I mean, the Beatles are great and all that. I'm certainly not as much of a music guy as you are, Dave, for sure. But, you know, whatever. Beatles, music, Rock Band,
Well, as a musician, can I actually address that very quickly? The Beatles' music is deceptively hard. It seems like it would be really easy to play, but I had to do a transcription of Here Comes the Sun for string quartet. Holy good God, was that really, really hard. It's really, really clever, and it's going to be a lot harder than, say, Weezer ever was in Rock Band.
Oh, I believe you. I think it's interesting, though. I mean, honestly, that the Beatles has as much cachet as they do. I mean, greatest rock band in the world, blah, 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 cool. But, kids today, man, I mean, we're like a couple generations on from the Beatles, and for them to position this as like this huge thing, I mean, yeah, it'll be big for a lot of people, but I don't know. I mean, for me, it doesn't have much impact. I kind of wonder how it will be received.
Could be huge on the Wii.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Right demographic.
Well, moving on.
Yeah.
Fine. I'd like to bring up Castlevania Lord of Shadow, or as someone, I believe, was it Tim who said, it's Patrick Stewart in Castlevania Lord of Shadow. I'm really excited about this for one reason. Igarashi is not involved in the game, and the fact that this doesn't look like it was a Castlevania game and was kind of retrofitted to be a Castlevania game. I'm excited because, as many of you guys know out there, I was a huge Castlevania nut, but I mean they've driven that franchise into the ground with the last few releases. They've never made a 3D game that actually worked. So I think having an outside influence, be it the Madrid-based developer or even, as I swallow really hard to say it, Hideo Kojima, I think it's a step in the right direction, because any step other than something Igarashi was doing is going to be a step in the right direction.
My reaction to this, and I am also a big Castlevania nerd, although not as much of one as you are, was that this might be the game that finally breaks the Castlevania curse as far as taking them into 3D. But I think that it's probably going to be for the wrong reasons. When I watched the trailer, I got the feeling that the game looks very polished and it looks fun, like it's going to be great to play. But I never once during that trailer thought to myself, "Oh my God, it's a Castlevania game." It doesn't really distinguish itself from about a million other action games that are out there right now. And I'm kind of hoping for more of a Castlevania vibe, a horror vibe in the finished product, when it hits shelves. But just for example, like the boss fight in there with the big rock monster, why am I fighting that thing in broad daylight in a green area? That's like totally not what I expect from Castlevania. I want my gothic atmosphere and ambiance and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a good game, but I'm not entirely sold that it's going to be a great Castlevania game. I think it's going to be a good game that has Castlevania stamped on it.
I think as long as they can bring the vibe to Castlevania 3, because you were talking about outdoors and whatnot, I think that's going to be where they might get it from. Sorry to interrupt, but that just wanted to address that point.
No problem. I was going to say, it looks to me like kind of a generic, God of War-ish kind of game. I agree. I didn't get much of a Castlevania vibe, and Konami's track record is pretty horrible, like you guys mentioned. So, whatever. I'll check it out, but it's certainly not near the top of my list. I don't have very many hopes for it.
Well, I have to have hopes for it, or mark my words, if this game is a bomb, I will be washing my hands of the Castlevania series. I will.
Wow.
This is the make or break for me. This is it. I'm not playing any more Metroidvanias. I'm done. They've got that down to such a predictable formula. It's not fun. Unless they pull this off for me. That's why it's on my list, because it's that meaningful a game for me. A game that I have 20 plus years of history with. I will wash my hands of it.
There you have it.
I still like Metroidvania.
Dave goes on the record. Here it is.
Yeah. Well, one that I'm hoping you guys will actually agree with me about is Metal Gear Solid Rising. By the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, say what you will about the regular game, Raiden really, really redeemed himself as a character, both as a character and as a badass. I mean, wow. I never thought I actually wanted to ditch Snake and play as Raiden. But without going into spoiler territory, by the end of it, I thought, oh my god, I want to play as this guy. And it looks like we'll get a really good, solid chance. And did anybody notice the subtitle was different? It's not tactical espionage, stealth, whatever action. It's lightning swordplay action or something. So it looks like it's going to be a really different kind of game, which I'm very curious as to how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, we'll see. I lost a lot of enthusiasm for Metal Gear over the last couple years. I've said this many times, and even Kojima has said this, that he has lost enthusiasm for the series, and he's kind of burned out on it. I think that's pretty obvious. Metal Gear Solid 4 was a complete disaster as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not at all excited for any of the new Metal Gear stuff coming out. I think it's getting really, really played out. I'll take a look at it for sure. I mean, I'm still a fan of the series, but I'm not holding my breath for anything.
I really enjoyed Metal Gear Solid 3 and haven't had a chance to play the fourth entry despite what everyone has said. I'm still excited to play it, so I was really disappointed that the Metal Gear coming to Xbox 360 was not Metal Gear Solid 4. I still hold out hope that will happen, but I really don't want to have to buy a PS3 to play it and experience it for myself.
Well, thanks for agreeing with me on the games that have piqued my interest, guys. Appreciate it. And watch this. I'm now going to... My last pick is a game that I am so not interested in that I bet all three of you are salivating about it, and that's Mario Galaxy 2. Wow, this is a game that screams Square Enix treatment for me, a la Final Fantasy X-2. Super Mario Galaxy for me was one of my top picks of, I think it was 2007 it came out, was one of the best games I played. I thought it was the most magical Mario I'd played since Mario 64. I've annihilated it. I've replayed it. I loved it. I just felt like they just killed the goose that laid the golden egg. There's playing as Yoshi and having new spheres to run on just isn't doing it for me. Nintendo's never done this with a Mario game that I can think of where they made like a Super Mario... Why couldn't they do Super Mario 3 2? And finally put that centaur suit that Miyamoto said he designed into it. Or anything else. Just, why this? It's just, I'm staying away.
Here's what I love about Miyamoto's comments later on after the press conference. He said, Super Mario Galaxy 2 will contain nearly 90% new content. And I'm thinking, if anyone other than Miyamoto were to say that the game that he's releasing has 10% recycled content, they would be torn apart. Miyamoto's probably the only guy who can get away with it. I played through Super Mario Galaxy once. I loved it, but the reality is, if I were to play it again, I wouldn't remember any of the levels. So for me, Super Mario Galaxy might as well be Super Mario Galaxy 2. It's just more of the same, and I'll probably end up getting it, but I'm honestly in no hurry whatsoever.
Me either. My attitude toward it is pretty much the same there, especially with that comment about the 90% new, 10% recycled, and that being a-okay. It just feels to me like this is an attempt by Nintendo to say, well, we didn't have any of our core franchises with a new entry ready to go. I mean, unless you count Metroid Other M, which the different developers and everything like that. Nobody knows how that's going to turn out. They didn't have a Zelda for this year, or, a console Zelda or another, any of their other franchises. So no Smash Brothers or anything like that. So this was like the easy way to get a big game for everybody to get excited about. But again, I'm with Dave. It doesn't feel like a new Mario game to me. It's weird to see a Mario game from Miyamoto that's basically taking the same world and just adding new gameplay to it. It may turn out to be fantastic. I suspect it will be pretty good. But at the same time, it just feels like a quick and easy way to get something out to try to appease us core gamers who always feel like Nintendo's taking a big dump on us.
And you know how they could have appeased us? Give us the fucking Kid Icarus. Give us the Donkey Kong. Give us the motherfucking Earthbound. For Christ's sake, we've been yelling about it for what? Over 15 goddamn... Sorry, I'm vulgarity in city right now. 15 goddamn years we've been asking for a new Earthbound. It was fantastic. Yep. So quirky. So wonderful. What the fuck is wrong with them? I mean, bring it out. We will buy it. We will buy 10 copies of it.
Well, I would. Earthbound? Yeah.
Yeah.
David,
what the fuck are they waiting for?
The vitality sensors don't just design themselves. I mean,
yeah, and you know what else Nintendo did way back when for the original NES? They made a sewing machine add-on for it. I shit you not. Go ahead and Google it, kids. You'll find I'm not lying. Like, god damn it. Bring out the... Fuck!
The real David unleashed in hour 2 of the podcast. Man alive. I'm a little bit frightened right now. Well, let's let you cool down a bit. Let's transition over to Mike. Now, Mike, I don't know what you're planning to talk about, but if I don't hear some Final Fantasy XIV talk from you, I'll be very disappointed.
Well, you're in luck because I'm opening up with Final Fantasy XIV because I was sitting on my couch when that press conference came on and that little video showed up and it was like in that 60 seconds, minute and a half, however long the video is, it was like my own personal 12 stages of gaming emotions all encapsulated in those few seconds. That trailer started up and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited. This is going to be an offline game in Final Fantasy XI's world, which is what I've always wanted, instead of having to just play it online, because Final Fantasy XI has a really great story. Then I was nostalgic because I see the Galka in the trailer and the elves, and I'm like, oh my god, those are the characters I know and I've spent so much time with. That's awesome. I'm gonna get to play them, and I'm still thinking it's offline, right? And then I was nervous because they announced it's online, and I'm like, oh fuck, there goes 4,000 more hours of my life to another game, and then I'll never accomplish anything other than just playing this game endlessly. And then I was distraught because it's a PS3 exclusive, and I don't have a PS3, and I don't have any fucking money to buy one because Sony didn't drop the price. But then I was happy again because we learned after the fact that it's not an exclusive after all, because there's definitely a version for the PC coming, and I bet my non-existent house that it's going to show up on the 360 too, because the FF11 is already on the 360 as well. My big concern here, and this is everybody who has played Final Fantasy XI's concern, is whether or not Square has learned anything from the mistakes of Final Fantasy XI, which were numerous, and if this development team, which is I'm pretty sure is the same one that's handled FF11 for all these years, will actually listen to feedback from their player base. One thing Blizzard does very well in the MMO realm is listen to their players when they bitch about something. Now that doesn't mean that they take every crying guy's complaints into consideration and implement them in the game, but if there's a genuine problem with balance or something like that, Blizzard listens and then fixes it. If you're not Japanese, the developers of Final Fantasy XI do not care what you think about the game. It's always been that way. It's still that way now. For this to work, it's going to have to definitely be a little more casual friendly than Final Fantasy XI. They'll have to trim out some of the time sync elements of the game, because seriously, in Final Fantasy XI, like at the end of Chains of Promethea, when you finish all the missions and you're just going to get your ring reward and watch the last few cutscenes, there is enough traveling involved that it takes you 3 real life hours just to get your reward for doing this thing. So they've definitely got to fix that stuff. But if they do that, I think we're going to have another good MMO. It's not going to be a World of Warcraft competitor. Blizzard is just too huge. But I think it's going to be a nice, like Final Fantasy XI is now, it'll be a nice alternative to playing World of Warcraft. So that's my thoughts on Final Fantasy XIV. And I didn't expect anybody to have anything to say about that because I'm a big dork and the rest of you have lives. So
The only thing I got to say is I have no time at all for MMOs. I mean, I got so many games to play.
And Final Fantasy XI is insane because everything in the game is designed to take as long as possible. They don't want you to finish anything in a reasonable amount of time because they're afraid you'll stop paying. So everything literally takes forever. It's insane, and hopefully they will fix that. So next up for me was Dante's Inferno. That's EA's new God of War clone, basically. It's actually might be more accurate to call it sort of a PlayStation 2 God of War clone, even though it's on the next-gen consoles. It's definitely a nice-looking game. I still want to play it, but once you look at God of War 3 and then you look back at this game, it's like pretty obvious which one you're going to want to play if you only had to choose one. It's interesting to me that they're trying to adapt something like the Divine Comedy into a video game, even though they're making an action game again in the God of War vein. The lamest thing about it, though, were the fake protesters that EA hired. That was definitely cheese.
You know, this game looks completely cheesy to me, like in general. Like looking at it, like the character design looks weak. I mean, it's obviously like a God of War / Devil May Cry kind of ripoff. I mean, the inspiration, just the overall art design, the concept. I mean, it just looks to me like it just screams like wannabe Me Too cash in. I have very little hope for this title at all. I'll play it because I play everything, but it's like way, way, way low on my priority list, and I think it's gonna bomb. It looks pretty stupid to me, honestly.
I really hope it bombs because, I mean, if they'd named this thing Joe Blow Goes Down to Hell and Romps Around, that's basically what we got. The only thing it has is the cachet of Dante's Inferno, which, wow, is that ever not an action game? Just like every freaking way, it's not an action game.
Well, and how many people are even familiar with it? I mean, it's not taught in schools. It's not required reading. I mean, I'm sure people have heard it, name-checked here and there, but nobody really knows what it's about. I mean, I don't know a single person who's read it, so it's kind of odd to me that they choose it.
Well, you know what this game is going to feel like? It's going to feel like fucking purgatory the entire time. No matter what you do, you'll be stuck in purgatory. I think it's brilliant, actually, in that way. Because you know it's not going to go anywhere in the depth that it has to. And besides, hell is not always this fire and brimstone thing, but every level I ever saw was lava lake, fire and brimstone. Yawn.
Yeah, it definitely has some things that could work against it. But I find a lot of people kind of bag on it for being a God of War clone, and I understand that to a degree, but dude, if you're going to rip something off that's great. And I think we all pretty much agree that God of War is pretty fucking great. So, something else that takes that kind of gameplay and does, gives us another experience with it, I'm all for it. So I'm definitely still interested. You guys can not be interested and I'll be okay.
Sounds good.
Moving along,
be that, whatever.
Yeah, I just whatevered all of you. So
I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the game that I was also almost as excited as I was about Final Fantasy XIV is Golden Sun DS. I loved the original 2 Golden Sun games back on the Game Boy Advance. They were great. Old schools like 16-bit era RPGs that you could play portably, and they were 2D sprite graphics, and the battle scenes, the battle screen had really, really nice graphics and cool spell effects and stuff like that. So when they announced that we were finally getting a sequel on the DS, I was really excited. But then I was a little disappointed to see that the footage they showed us was the DS style of 3D graphics for this game, not the 2D sprites that we all fell in love with the last time around and stuff like that. Golden Sun's 2D was really pretty. This 3D is nice, but it's not nearly as nice as the 2D was on the GBA game. So I'm still excited about the game. We didn't really see any gameplay or anything like that. I'm sure it'll be turn-based and a lengthy quest and pretty much your standard RPG, but I still like standard Japanese RPGs. So this is a franchise I would definitely be interested in playing more of.
I'm just glad they didn't forget about it, because Golden Sun always seemed like one of those things that they just left behind after the second Game Boy Advance game. I'm totally with you. In fact, I killed many nights of E3s playing that, because if people who've never been to LA shuts down at 6 o'clock at night, and when you're stuck in a downtown hotel, because you want to stay pretty close to the conference center, there's dick all to do other than order pizza, whip out the GBA, and have a night. So I'm with you, Mike. I'm so glad they didn't forget about this one.
I remember when Golden Sun 2 came out and being shocked that there was even a sequel. And I really was even more shocked to see this in the press conference. I think this was the real surprise in the Nintendo press conference. My question is, will they let you bring your characters, your save data from Golden Sun 2 into Golden Sun 3? And if so, will it be the 64-character password that you had to type in when you brought the characters from 1 to 2?
I forgot about that.
I pray it is.
That could be very exciting, because I remember how hard it was to get my password right from 1 to 2, so I had totally forgotten about that. Next up on my list, this is sort of weird. It's something I was interested in, and I'm still sort of interested in, but it's not like something I'm like totally excited about. We finally got a big look at the PS3 game Heavy Rain, which is sort of a mystery serial killer, multiple lead character game that sounded really cool when I've been reading about it for all these years leading up to this year. Then there was this cool developer's demo video that G4 got, which was basically 20 minutes with one of the developers running you through one of the game's areas and showing you how the gameplay is, and I'm like a lot less interested in it after that, because basically it looks like a PS3 version of Dragon's Lair. The game, you can talk to people and everything, but whenever any kind of action happens, it's like one giant QuickTime event with buttons to press in certain directions and stuff like that. I don't know about you guys, but QuickTime events are okay in very small doses in games, but an entire, however long this game is, it's got to be at least 10 hours. Experience of nothing but QuickTime events is going to get really old really fast, so I'm not as excited about that, even though the game looks really pretty.
I'm going to take the opposite view, Mike, because, not just for the QuickTime events. I don't mind them at all. I think if they're done well, I like them just as much as I like any other mechanic. Grinding random battles in RPGs drives me nuts, but I put up with it if the game's good enough. If, QuickTime events are just one more mechanic to get where the developer wants us to go. So I don't really care from that respect. And I really did like Quantic Dream's previous game. I know it was called Fahrenheit in Europe, and it was called, what was it called here? It was called something
Indigo
else.
Prophecy.
Indigo Prophecy, yes. Even though that game is like highly flawed in some ways, I really felt like those guys were on the right track as far as character development. They really had a good handle on the level of maturity. They tried a few things. It was pretty bold. I don't think they all worked, but I think overall I really had a great appreciation for that title, and I have been looking forward to Heavy Rain for quite a while to see them take the next step. So if it's still a little rough, or if it's still kind of experimental or whatnot, that's okay with me. I'm okay to go along with these guys, because I think they got something going. And the most interesting thing to me about Heavy Rain is that it's been reported several times that no matter what happens, whether your character dies or whether they escape, whether you catch the bad guy or not, the game progresses. So
Right.
it's never as though you stop, get a game over, and then restart. I mean, allegedly, if what they're saying is true, the game simply picks a new place for you to begin with maybe a different character or a different aspect of the story, and you just keep going with the choices that you've made. So that to me sounds pretty bold. I don't know if that's going to actually pan out or not, but the talk has got my attention, and I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I'm still looking forward to it.
I'm with you on that, and I want to again say that I was really, really, really looking forward to it, and then when I saw the base that the gameplay is basically quick time events, that I lost some interest. I'm still interested in the game. I still think it looks interesting. My problem is that. Again, I guess I'm just a little jaded. I played Indigo Prophecy. I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's a great game, but it has a lot of rough edges and things that don't quite work. And I will definitely give them the benefit of the doubt on this version. My thing is like I'm just not convinced that this is going to work quite as well as they want you to think it is. I heard the same stuff about your lead character can die and you'll switch to a different lead character and stuff like that. Sounds really cool, but until I actually see it in action, I'm like still interested, but I'm not like super interested. So that was the one game of E3 where instead of like going from not knowing about it to interested or mildly interested to very interested, I went the sort of opposite way, even though it was only a little bit. And then finally, last thing for me, the big game of show, a lot of people's game of show, God of War 3. This is one of those things, I don't own a PS3. I would really like to get one. God of War 3 made me want to run out and buy one right this minute. I like God of War and God of War 2 a lot. And here we go with a third installment that's, bigger, prettier, more violent, more over the top. The demo of Kratos fighting I forget what that creature is. He was big horn thing and stabbing it in the eye with a horn was just like so cool that like, dude, I would have went out and bought a PS3 on the spot. I'm a fan of the franchise, and I was kind of like when God of War 3 was first announced, I was wondering like, okay, how are they going to top themselves? Yes, it'll be on the PS3. Yeah, it will be prettier. There may be some more stuff in it because of the hardware advances, but I wasn't sure that I really needed a third go around with this character. After seeing it in action, I think it's like a day one purchase. Definitely one of the best games I saw from the coverage of the show this year.
Absolutely right there. I loved God of War 1, God of War 2, and I kind of thought to myself, I'm good. I've had enough. I don't need to buy a PS3 for this game. And then I saw the same footage you did, and I was just like, give me my price drop, and I'm there. And if there's one game right now that will put me over the edge to buying a PS3, that's it. Just looks
It's Metal Gear Solid 4. Oh wait, no, sorry, it's another one now.
I did say that before, didn't I? It's getting late.
Some of us
anyway.
are paying attention.
Darn it. David, you and you're paying attention to the words I use?
Yes.
Well, I'll quickly chime in because I know Brad wants to chime just to say, I'm just going to say ditto to everybody. When I first heard about God of War 3, I thought, and then I saw it and it was just like, okay, wow, yeah, thank God I have one. Thank God I've got a PS3 because now at least I have a good excuse to play something other than a Blu-ray in it.
Yeah, ditto basically. I mean, except for I was actually excited for it. I have been wanting to play another God of War. I like the series quite a bit. I really like their emphasis on playability and polish. And it's actually one that my wife and I really both enjoy. Like, she plays through it right after I get done, although this time around she may play through it first. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I may not buy it like day one release, but it's up near the top of my list.
So that's your list, Mike?
That is my list.
That leaves us with my list.
For better or for worse.
That leaves us with my list, and I know we're running late on the show here, so I'll try to burn through these as fast as possible. I've got 5 games. First on my list is Borderlands. This is a sci-fi first-person shooter with some RPG elements. coming from Gearbox Software. These are the folks who most recently brought us Brothers in Arms, and I actually know them from the Half-Life expansions, from the original Half-Life. They did Opposing Force and Blue Shift, so I think that's a pretty good pedigree. What appeals to me about this game is the Diablo-style randomly generated environments and the Diablo/World of Warcraft style loot. There are allegedly 650,000 separate pieces of loot to be acquired in this game. And as a loot guy who enjoys green loot and blue loot and purple loot, all those colors, yeah, Mike, you're hearing me. That color-coded loot, and they've got the color coding in Borderlands. I am completely there for this game. The only thing I'm hesitant about is the last time we had a sci-fi first-person shooter with RPG elements and loot, Hellgate London.
Yeah.
So who knows? And this Borderlands has had a bit of troubled development. So it's been in development for quite a while, and in fact, they between last E3 and this one, they rebuilt all the art assets and went in a completely different direction. It's got kind of a cel-shaded look now, and I think we're still a ways off from this coming out, but still really excited about it. Next on my list is Star Wars: The Old Republic. The big old BioWare MMO, and I have to tell you, I was done with Star Wars. I had put my Star Wars fandom behind me, couldn't care less about anything related to Star Wars, whether it was books, TV shows, cartoons, toys, anything. And then I saw that blasted trailer, and I got all giddy. And I don't know who's cutting trailers at BioWare, but let's give these guys some raises, because that thing is epic. You've all seen it, presumably?
Yes.
The Sith and the Jedi and the fighting and the jumping and the... and I got all excited, and in fact I went out and I bought, just to satisfy my hunger for Star Wars gaming, I actually went and bought The Force Unleashed for $20, which I swore I wouldn't do, but it's just something to tide me over. I don't have an MMO that I'm playing right now since I abandoned World of Warcraft, and honestly, I'd be surprised if we see this game before 2011. But I am there day one. Cannot wait for this game. Along the lines of that, staying with BioWare, Mass Effect 2. I have absolutely nothing to say about this except I want to play me some Mass Effect 2. Next on my list, Assassin's Creed 2, which I was not expecting to have on my list. And I liked Assassin's Creed. I thought the parkour was great. I'm a sucker for traversal games. But how the game was constructed with the incredibly repetitive mission structure, where you had to go eavesdrop the same way 7 or 8 times.
Yes.
You had to go pickpocket the same way 7 or 8 times. It was incredibly tedious. But what sold me on this game was I saw an interview with the executive producer and the creative director, one of whom is the lovely Jade Raymond. And they said, we recognize that there were elements of the first game that people didn't like, and we threw them all out. So all that stuff is gone, and it's been replaced with a quest structure that I think is similar to, I guess the closest analog would be Grand Theft Auto. So you have Venice, which is going to be this massive open world, and then you'll have quest givers, that some of whom will be associated with the main quest, some of whom will be optional side quests, and you can just go visit whomever you want at any time to move the storyline along. And some of them will give you different assassination quests, some of them will give you other quests to acquire new technology, whatever it happens to be. They had a gameplay demo at the Sony press conference, and it just looks amazing. It takes place in the Italian Renaissance, and the mission takes place at night, and there's fireworks, and you're climbing this tower, and then you get on one of those Leonardo da Vinci flying machines, and you're flying around Venice, kicking people, flying around the city, and it just spoke to me. It sang to me. and I just couldn't be more excited for this game. So,
Well, you know what, Tim? The thing I'll say about Assassin's Creed 2 is that it can only be better than the first one.
Yeah,
There's
I'll
no way
second
it
that.
gets worse. I mean, seriously, it's only going uphill from there, which is a good thing. I mean, I think for whatever reason, Assassin's Creed 2 has a really powerful sense of face appeal. Like, you look at it, and there's something really great about the art design. Like, as every gamer I talk to wants to like this game. Like, it looks cool. Your dude in his robe, he's got a knife, you jump around. It's got like all the badass elements. And I mean, I was ready to, sing the praises of number one for months before I played it. And as soon as I played it, my jaw just, literally hit the floor. I could not believe how craptastic it was and like how badly they had whiffed it. So I still, that coolness factor is still there. I mean, the game just rocks the coolness. I mean, it looks so cool. So if they truly, and I kind of doubt Ubisoft because they've lost their mojo lately, but if they truly have listened to the feedback, it can only be better. So I will definitely give it a shot. I'm willing to come back for round 2. I hope it's improved. I have a feeling it will be. So yeah, it's not something I'm dying for because I'm still a bit cautious, but I think it'll work this time.
I was actually bothered by the fact that I saw that footage of Assassin's Creed 2 and I immediately wanted to play it because my stepson convinced me to play the first game late last year, and I played it and did nothing but curse about how awful it was the whole time, so much so that he apologized at the end because he liked the game and he thought I would like it, and he felt bad that I hated it so much, which made me feel pretty awful that I made him feel that bad. But Assassin's Creed, Assassin's Creed, the original, is not a very good game, but for the reasons I think Brad mentions, there's everything there is right, except the gameplay just wasn't fun. I mean, the character's great, the knives are great, the jumping around, being a master assassin's great. Why did this game suck? So I'm sure this time it's going to be better. Well, I would hope, and I don't really see how it could be worse.
No, I'm probably in the minority here, but I really didn't like the meta game thing going on about the fact that you're not actually Altair, you're actually this other guy, and you're actually this and this. No, you know what? I just want to be a guy stabbing people in the back, doing it for fun and profit, blending into crowds and getting the fuck out of town. And doing it really well with tight controls and with lots to do instead of wandering around between cities for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, it kind of felt like the other $60 tech demo, like that and Crackdown.
Totally.
Yes, even more than Crackdown. Because at least Crackdown, there were lots of innocent people you could mow down in a big car. With this one, there was nothing to do except hide in a haystack until the red meter turned green again.
It was the climbing mechanic. That's all they had. They had the climbing nailed down, and the rest of the game was totally phoned in around it. So that is certainly the perfect example of a $60 tech demo. I agree with that. Absolutely.
So the fifth game on my list is Scribblenauts, and I had not heard anything about this game until I watched a demo of it earlier today, and I immediately added it to my list. This is a 2D side-scrolling puzzle game for the Nintendo DS, controlled entirely with the stylus. The premise of the game is as you move through the levels, you have to acquire stars, which are in inconvenient locations. So, for example, on the first screen, there is a star stuck in a tree, and you have to figure out how to get it down. The gameplay mechanic is that you type words onto the, or not type, but write words onto the DS screen, and whatever word you type, it creates that object in the game world. So, with the example of the tree, you could type the word chainsaw, and a chainsaw will appear in the game space, and you can cut the tree down. A second person might decide to type the word match, and a match appears in the game world. And then you would light the match and burn the tree down, thus allowing you to get to the star. A third person might write the word beaver, and a beaver will appear and chew through the tree, knocking it down, allowing you to retrieve the star. The developers here, Fifth Cell, who have not done much. They've done a couple DS games. Locke's Quest and Drawn to Life are the two names that you probably might have heard of. They've done a lot of mobile phone stuff as well. They have built a dictionary of thousands of upon thousands of words. And the way that they're advertising it is you can literally write any noun and it will create the object in the game space. And what they show in the demo is, I mean, it's absolutely remarkable. One of the puzzles was a beached whale, and you had to figure out how to get the beached whale off the beach because he's on top of the star. So one person walks up to the game and writes the word balloon, thinking, well, I'll float the whale off the beach. Well, it creates a little tiny balloon. So he writes balloon over and over and over and over and over, and eventually the whale is light enough that it's able to basically float off of the beach. Next person walks up and writes hot air balloon, and it creates this massive balloon, and it just carries the whale off of the beach. They were trying incredibly obscure words. They were trying things like stanchion was one word that they tried. You could type well, here was the example that completely blew me away. There was it was basically the guy was being confronted with robot zombies, and the guy was trying all sorts of different words. He was trying missile, and a missile appeared, but it couldn't blow up the zombies. He tried bomb, and a bomb appeared, couldn't blow up the zombies. This guy was getting frustrated, so he wrote time machine, just screwing around. A time machine appears, and a time machine just shows up, and he goes in, and it says, do you want to travel to the future or the past? He says, all right, I'll go to the past. So he goes to the past, and there's dinosaurs. Well, when you tap on the dinosaur, it offers the ability to ride the dinosaur. So he gets on the dinosaur, gets back in the time machine, goes back to the future, and the dinosaur chews through the robot zombies, and he beats the level that way. Just on a completely random chance, tried time machine and was able to beat the level. It seems to me to be sky's the limit. Literally anything you can think of, it can draw. I saw people writing things like waffle iron, and a waffle iron shows up. Another person wrote grill and then wrote sushi, and it put the sushi on the grill and it made a cooked fish. Now, I don't know what you do with the fish, but it seems almost too good to be true, and I wonder what the limitation is. But at least in this little demo, it just completely entranced me. Have any of you guys taken a look at it?
I saw that demo. Somebody typed Einstein, and he figured out a mathematical equation to fix one of the levels, too. My concern is always going to be context, because in my exhaustion-infused mind, when you said beaver, I'm thinking, how will you know what context I mean that word? So I just want to make – and granted, that's a very dirty word to begin with, but surely there's got to be something that has, more than one meaning, and I'm just not sure how the game's going to be able to discern exactly what I mean by it.
There is apparently if you type a word that has, I don't know, is the word I'm thinking of homonym? Not homonym.
Yes.
Maybe it's homonym. Like
synonym?
Maybe synonym. If you type a word that can have multiple meanings, a menu pops up and it asks you which one do you mean.
It'll be really interesting to try to break that game, I'm sure. It sounds almost too good to be true, the way that you're describing it. It's a DS game, isn't it? Correct?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm having a hard time imagining them fitting all that content onto a DS cartridge. So I have watched it. I am interested. I have played their previous work, so I'm kind of familiar with what they do, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I kind of question that it's as open and as magical as it's described to be, but I kind of am believing it so far. We'll see.
Yeah. So anyway, those are the games I'm looking forward to. Now, it was very, very hard to get down to 5 games. Tons of other games we could be talking about. We didn't mention Alan Wake. We didn't mention Modern Warfare 2, Sin and Punishment 2, The Last Guardian. We talked about Project Trico last week. Finally has a name, and it was basically the same sort of preview leaked footage we saw, but spiced up a bit with some better graphics and animation. What else? Mag, Mod Racer Nation, Splinter Cell Conviction, any thoughts on any of those games or anything that I've missed before we
Mag,
close up here?
Mag cracks me up because I'm supposed to be excited that there are 256 players on the screen at once. So that basically means instead of the normal 15, 31, or 63 dickhead douchebags I have to play with, I now have to put up with 255 instead. That's great. Progress is great.
And how?
Thank God for mute buttons. So I predict we'll get 255 other people kind of standing around wondering what to do because nobody else wants to hear them. You know, I kind of wonder what 255 people shouting the word fag at the same time will sound like.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds a lot like mag. So we'll see.
Ah. Makes you
on top of that, I just didn't think the game looked that interesting. Personally, I don't know. Just didn't do anything for me. And as far as the Project Trico game, I swear that thing's still a giant fucking rat. It still freaks me out every time I see it.
All right. Well, we're way over on time, so we're going to wrap this show up. Just remind everybody that they can listen to the podcast via iTunes, via the Zune Marketplace, or right off the Game Critics homepage. Leave your comments there or on Twitter. The name is Game Critics. Gentlemen, thanks for staying up late with me.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Tim.
It was a pleasure.
All right. We'll close it out and see you again next week. Until then, bye-bye.